What if the greatest secret of humanity was hidden in a forbidden book, one that tells of giants, fallen angels, and a cover-up that spans millennia? Tonight, we unlock the secrets of the lost Book of Giants, a text so controversial it was banned from the Bible and erased from history. In 1947, a chance discovery in the caves near the Dead Sea changed everything we thought we knew about ancient history. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls, scholars found fragments of a book missing for 2,000 years, the Book of Giants, containing revelations that religious authorities desperately wanted to keep buried. This forbidden text, written in Aramaic around 100 BCE, begins with the Watchers, also called the Grigori, angels originally sent by God to guide humanity who broke divine law by taking human wives and teaching forbidden knowledge to mankind. Their children, known as the Nephilim, were giants of unimaginable size whose insatiable hunger and violence threatened to destroy the world. These weren't just mythical beings, but according to the Book of Giants, real entities whose very existence challenged the natural order established by the divine. The text provides detailed accounts of specific giants named Ohya, Hahya, and Mahway, beings whose immense power and dominance over early humanity came with a terrible price. Despite their strength, these giants were haunted by terrifying prophetic nightmares that foretold their doom. The dreams showed tablets being cast into water, trees being uprooted, and a great catastrophe approaching that would wipe out their entire race. Desperate for answers and fearing what these visions meant, they sought out Enoch, the legendary scribe of God who had been taken up to heaven and granted divine knowledge. Enoch's interpretation was chilling and absolute. The visions foretold a great flood that would destroy them as punishment for the corruption they had brought to the earth. The giants, once the undisputed rulers of the ancient world, were doomed by their own actions and the sins of their angelic fathers. But here's where the story becomes even more intriguing, because evidence of these giants may not be confined to ancient texts alone. Archaeological discoveries worldwide have uncovered massive skeletal remains that challenge conventional understanding of human history. The Lovelock Giants of Nevada, discovered in the early 20th century, were described by local Paiute tribes as red-haired giants called the Sai Te Ka, who were eventually driven out or destroyed by their ancestors. Historical reports spanning 2 centuries document skeletal finds of unusual height, including accounts of skeletons measuring 8 to over 10 feet tall, with some extreme claims reaching 18 feet. The elongated skulls of Paracas, Peru, have sparked intense debate among researchers, with their unusual shape, size, and cranial capacity challenging conventional explanations of cultural deformation practices. While mainstream archaeology attributes these to known cultural and medical factors, some researchers argue that DNA evidence in skull sutures may point to something far more mysterious. Native American legends across multiple tribes speak of encounters with giant races, stories that align remarkably with the biblical accounts of the Nephilim and suggest these weren't isolated myths, but shared historical memories. Even more compelling, these stories of giants aren't unique to Hebrew texts, but echo across every ancient civilization on Earth, suggesting either a shared mythological archetype or a shared historical memory of actual events. The Sumerian Anunnaki were powerful deities depicted with great stature who descended from the heavens and interacted with humanity, sometimes described as watchers or judges who brought both knowledge and destruction. Greek mythology tells of the Titans, giant deities who were the first generation of gods born of Gaia and Uranus, who rebelled against the cosmic order and were eventually defeated and imprisoned after a great war with the Olympian gods. Norse legends speak of the Jotuns, or Jötnar, giants with supernatural strength who lived in Jotunheim and constantly clashed with the gods, beginning with Ymir, the primordial giant whose body was used to create the world itself. Hindu texts describe the Daityas and Danavas, giant demons who warred against the gods, while Mesoamerican cultures tell of giant races who built the Great Pyramids before being wiped out by floods and earthquakes. The consistency of these stories across disconnected civilizations is remarkable, particularly the recurring theme of giants being destroyed by divine judgment through natural disasters, most commonly floods. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes how the Anunnaki mourned the great flood that destroyed the world, while biblical narratives connect the flood directly to the corruption caused by the Nephilim. Norse Ragnarok prophecies speak of giants playing a role in the world's destruction and renewal, and countless other cultures preserve memories of cataclysmic floods that reset human civilization. These parallel accounts point to something far more significant than mere coincidence, suggesting that ancient humanity may have preserved memories of actual catastrophic events that reshaped the world and eliminated previous civilizations or races. But why would religious authorities work so hard to suppress the Book of Giants and similar texts? The answer lies in the dangerous questions these writings raise about the nature of evil, the origins of corruption, and the relationship between the divine and human realms. Early Christian councils feared that these texts undermined the official narrative of human fall and redemption by suggesting that evil entered the world not through human choice alone, but through the direct intervention of rebellious angels. The Book of Giants implied that humanity's corruption was not entirely our fault, but the result of forbidden knowledge and genetic contamination from these divine beings. This challenged the Church's teachings about original sin, free will, and the need for salvation through Christ alone. Furthermore, these texts suggested that the material world was far more complex and dangerous than official doctrine allowed, populated by spiritual entities that could directly influence human affairs through interbreeding and the transmission of forbidden knowledge. The Qumran community, likely the Essenes, considered these Enochic traditions vital enough to preserve multiple copies, indicating their significance in Jewish thought at the time. The Book of Giants was also found in later Manichaean versions, showing its influence spread far beyond the original Jewish sect, suggesting these stories resonated across different religious and cultural boundaries. The implications were revolutionary and terrifying to religious authorities who sought to maintain control over spiritual interpretation and doctrine. If angels could rebel and corrupt humanity directly, if giants had once ruled the earth through superior knowledge and power, if advanced civilizations had existed before the flood, then the entire foundation of recorded history and religious authority would need to be reconsidered. Archaeological evidence continues to challenge conventional timelines and raise uncomfortable questions about our past. The precision of ancient megalithic structures seems impossible for primitive civilizations to construct using the tools and techniques officially attributed to them. Precision-cut stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons, fitted together so perfectly that a knife blade can't slip between them, found at sites like Pumapunku and Sacsayhuaman in South America, suggest construction methods that modern engineers struggle to replicate. The Antikythera mechanism, a complex astronomical computer from ancient Greece, demonstrates technological sophistication that wasn't supposed to exist for another 1,000 years. Out-of-place artifacts and inexplicable ruins hint at advanced knowledge or lost civilizations that defy the accepted timeline. Recent advances in genetic research have added another layer to this mystery, as scientists discover that human DNA contains sequences that don't appear in our supposed evolutionary ancestors, leading some researchers to propose that human genetics may have been influenced by unknown factors in our distant past.